Hi, Mike. I'm out here in front of the fruit stand at Letterkenny, Ontario, and I gotta say, the falling is slowing down. I feel like it's about to stop. Just a few more drops here. Running backs. Producer! Oh, hello. Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. I am bigz. He is Grindberg. We are Grindberg and bigz. And today we're going to be talking about our falling running backs due to the 2024 NFL Draft. I've got a few. Mike's got a few. I'm going to share a couple. Mike's going to share a couple. But stick around and you'll hear the top ones. Are my top one and his top one, the top ones.
The top ones. I'm going to start the show by not asking Mike how he's doing, because I know he's doing fine. He's in Canada. My first faller is Carolina Panthers running back Chubba. Don't call me Chubba. Hubbard.
Fellow Canadian.
Oh, brother Chubba is... he fell, and I'll tell you why. He had an absolutely horrific second half of the season last year. I think what happened was Bryce Young played so terribly behind the Carolina offensive line and under Frank Reich's wasted regime in Carolina that Box is just focused on they're going to give the ball to Chubba. Thielen's hurt and old and tired from his big first half, and now Chubba has the job outright, and we're just going to focus on him, and he didn't have anywhere to go. But what that does is it shows his lack of efficiency. There are lots of running backs in the NFL who see loaded boxes and they're able to succeed. Chubba's just not that guy. Chubba has to be part of an offense that does more, that gives him some room, opens up some room for him to work. Now, we talked a lot about this incoming 2024 draft rookie class of running backs, and there was one name that we kept saying if it hadn't been for his injury, he would be the RB1, the clear RB1 in this class. And that's Texas running back Jonathan Brooks, the heir apparent to the Roschon Johnson, Bijan Robinson Longhorns. And Jonathan Brooks is just sitting there waiting. He's about to be 100% healthy, and when he does that, he's going to show more speed than Chubba Hubbard. He's going to show more elusivity than Chubba Hubbard. He's going to show better vision. He's going to show a better ability to break tackles. He's going to show a better ability to catch passes, and he is quickly going to ascend to the RB1 position in Carolina. Book it. Draft him. Depending on your draft strategy, if you're going like an anchor hero RB situation, feel free to draft him as your RB2. If you're going 0 RBs, feel free to draft him as your RB1. Is he going to get breakout games in week 1, 2? Not necessarily, but there's going to be a lot of starting running backs who are going off the board before him, and you're going to be able to reach for him a little bit. I'm not an advocate of reaching in drafts, but if you're going to do a 0 RB and you're waiting, he'll be sitting there once you're done packing your roster full of wide receivers and quarterbacks. So Jonathan Brooks is a dude, and Chubba Hubbard is not that dude. My second one is another victim of the NFL draft, Kyren Williams. Now, we've seen this before. A guy comes in and takes over a running back situation, 5th round draft capital, and I'm talking about Kyren Williams of the Los Angeles Rams. He had a brilliant second half of the season last year, but he had 5th round draft capital for a reason. He didn't look efficient. He wasn't very fast. He wasn't very big. He didn't look great coming out of the draft. The Rams. Yeah. Everybody had Corum.
Chargers on the mind, yes.
Blake Corum comes in. He has 3rd round capital. it is not out of the question that Blake Corum is the RB1 before the end of training camp, and Kyren Williams is out. Again, same story as Chubba and Jonathan Brooks. All Corum has to do is show that he's 100% recovered from his injury that slowed him down in 2023. He's further ahead than Jonathan Brooks is. Show that he's more athletic, has better vision, and ability to break more tackles and catch the ball better than Kyren Williams, and the job is his. Those are my first two fallers. I bet you want to hear who the third one is, who my number one spotlighted, but I'm not going to tell you.
Why?
Yet.
We've been waiting.
Yet. You go.
Bigz,
you go.
Give it to me, man. I want to hear it.
You go.
Hugo.
You go.
Who's Hugo?
You go.
Okay,
Small car from Yugoslavia. You go.
Okay, I'm gonna head up. All right, so I'm gonna continue on my train of the last two shows. I'm gonna continue and hitting up these rookies, and my first faller is Audric Estime, and I just don't like his landing spot with the Denver Broncos. I just don't think they're going to be in a lot of situations where they're going to be scoring a lot of points in the red zone, and that's where I think Audric Estime is going to be where his gravy is. You know, he's a bigger back, hits the middle really hard, and I think that they're going to give Javonte Williams quite a bit of run at the start of the year if he can stay healthy. So I just don't like the landing spot for Audric Estime. I was hoping for him to be in a spot where he'd have a shot right away to start, like a Dallas Cowboys, like a Carolina Panthers, but that just didn't pan out. So I'm not super high on Audric Estime headed into this year in redraft leagues. Potentially long-term because of the injury history behind Javonte Williams, and there's not much behind him in that backfield in Denver, so could be a situation in the future, but this year specifically, I'm out on Audric Estime, and he fell for me in this draft. And then my next faller is somebody that is dear to my bigz' heart, and that is a guy that he had pegged as a really, really high draft pick in this draft, and he's a guy that fell to the New York Jets, and I'm going to let my homeboy bigz talk a little bit more about my second faller, because I think he might have him on his docket.
My number one, my spotlight. Oh, my achy heart. Ow, it hurts so bad. Braelon Allen. Now, I will say, I hate your list, Mike. Will Shipley, Audric Estime, and Braelon Allen. Sorry, spoiler alert. Are my three most rostered dynasty assets at a rookie draft so far. Braelon Allen is my number one, and the reason for that is because he is stuck behind a generational great in Breece Hall in the New York Jets situation. Israel Abanikanda is still there. They also went out and got another guy. It's a four-headed monster in New York, and Breece Hall is the alpha. I had high hopes for Braelon Allen. I love his physical profile. He's prototype, top 12 fantasy running back. But you have to have a job, and he doesn't have a job, and that's why he's my number one faller. I love Braelon Allen, 235 pounds, huge, works out with Derrick Henry, broke out as a freshman, early declare, one of the youngest running backs in the class, if not the youngest. Everything points to him being the elite of the elite, except he fell in the draft and then had a terrible landing spot. So in redraft leagues, I'm not even going to be taking a shot on him. He's not even going to be on my 0 RB wait and see list. There's so many guys ahead of him, like Audric Estime, who I mean, who's his backfield competition? Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin, like a guy made of glass and a guy who was an undrafted free agent. He definitely has a path to fantasy greatness that is much swifter than Braelon Allen. So Braelon Allen, just no, sorry, bud.
Yeah, I know that one hurts, and it's a hard one for you to swallow. But at the same time, he's an injury to Breece Hall away from being a monster performer. So he's a guy that you may want to look at into those deep benches that you got 20 plus players. He may be a guy as a backup that you might want to have in there.
I'll get him off
and
waivers.
Then for me, yeah, exactly. And then for me, you hit it too. All these guys that fell on my list are guys that I'm just not in on too much in redraft leagues, and my next guy is Will Shipley.
Before I get going, I want to say I really do like Will Shipley. I think he's got a bright future in this league, and all my pre-draft convictions are still true. However, the landing spot did not do Will Shipley any favors. This is why I still like Will Shipley, but he's going to have to wait a little bit for him to emerge with the landing spot he got. He's still a dynasty player I will have on my roster and my radar moving forward, but Shipley just didn't get the landing spot he needed because of Saquon Barkley in that offense. He's going to be a guy that's going to be in the red zone for the Eagles. He's going to be a guy that is going to be getting the first and second down role in between the 20s, and Will Shipley is going to be maybe more of like a complimentary role. Shipley doesn't have quite the mass and physicality that the other guys in this class had, but he was a guy that was in my top 5 headed into the draft, and he flew right down my board. He's outside of my top 10 now in redraft leagues because of what happened with the draft. Where you will find Shipley and his success is in the passing game, and he is a swing pass guy. He caught a lot of checkdowns last year in college, and Hurts does not necessarily check down a whole lot, further cementing his value, catapulting it far down. His short area skills do offer hope and another level in the passing game. If his usage in the aerial attack is expanded, he could be a guy that the Eagles could be using in the passing game a little bit, but he's a guy that fell down my board quite a bit because of where he landed and the opportunity. Heaven forbid an injury to Saquon Barkley, Will Shipley has all the tools to become a 3-down workhorse back, and that could be a future for him with the Philadelphia Eagles, but it's just not in his cards this year with the big contract that Barkley got and the downside in the red zone because of, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley there. So Will Shipley fell down my board, and it's an unfortunate situation because he was really, really high going into this rookie season, and now he's fell right down. But
yeah, the only thing that I can see now, I was talking about Breece Hall, and he's a generational player. He is the best profiled running back since Saquon Barkley, who's on his last legs, and there is a slight chance that Shipley is going to be the Jahmyr Gibbs to Saquon's David Montgomery, like they had in Detroit last season, except for the fact that Saquon Barkley can do all of the things that Shipley and Jahmyr Gibbs can do, while David Montgomery could not do those things. So I still love you, Will, but sorry.
Howdy, Jeff. Yeah, no kidding.
You want to get us out of here?
Yeah, man. So thanks everybody for tuning in to the Fantasy Forecast on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. We are going to be scouting people to join our listener league, so stay tuned for how you can win your seat in our league and have a shot at, butting heads with the big boys here. And we're going to build championships. So for all of us,
I think it might rhyme with Atreon.
Oh,
we will talk about that next week.
Yeah, totally. All right, folks. For all of us at the Fantasy Football Advice Network, thanks for tuning in. We hope you win.